we are going to discuss about the 3R principle under the environment management topic. Reuse, recycling and recovery, that is the need of today and urgent need of tomorrow. It is always. Now what exactly this 3RE and why we are going to use this 3R principle in each and every industry. Now from this diagram you can understand that this is the resource, here it is environment, and from this supportive capacity and this is assimilative capacity. So from these things the inputs is given to the development activity. Here it is some output, and on the basis of these things some waste can be generated. So whatever the waste can be generated, that should be identified, that should be classified, and we have to identify whether this waste can be reused, whether this waste can be recycled, whether this waste can be recovered. Then all these things should be checked. So this is the normal diagram in all types of industry where waste can be generated. So we have to check the feasibility for this 3R principle technique for this type of waste. Now waste is consist of part of raw material, intermediate or finished products. Therefore it is a resource and a certain cost is assigned to it. Therefore the waste is a resource and it can be reuse, recycle or recover. So there are many examples. Normally the simple examples in a daily life is nothing but the PET bottles, that is reusable bottles. Nowadays we are using the reusable PET bottles or other bottles also. Then there may be a chances of recycling. So some materials, some products can be recycled, and nowadays we are designing the recyclable products only. Then some solvents can be recovered from the process. Suppose we are using a solvent for extraction process, then if that solvent is very costly or if it is useful, then we have to recover that solvents. So there are lots of things to reuse, recycle and recover. Now if the waste generation is a waste of resource, that may be a waste of energy, that may be a waste of time, waste of money and loss in production. So waste generation is not our aim. Our aim is to convert the raw material into a final product, and from that final product revenue generation and the profit is the main only aim. But simultaneously in many of the processes waste or byproducts are generated while generating the final product, and this waste can be energy loss, time loss or money loss, right? So how to manage this waste? So the waste management is first the reduction in waste generation, that is QC of raw material and finished products, then better process control, instrumentation for better product, improved housekeeping, good preventive maintenance, change or modification in process. So these are the different techniques or the points which can be adopted in industry, and nowadays we are using all these types of points, that is reduction in the waste generation. So quality check is always there for the raw material, for the intermediate, for the final product, etc. So we are using automation units, we are using some PLC SCADA system for the better process controlling systems to avoid the waste, to avoid the spillage, to avoid the leakages, and we are also using a better instrumentation part or digital instruments for avoiding the samples or the chemicals which can spill while collecting that samples for the measuring some parameters. Then replacement, change in process to replace the waste with less quantity or less hazardous process. So we can go for the different process or a good process instead of a traditional process. So if a current process or a new process is generating a less waste, or a zero waste, then we should adopt that process. But we have to check the technical feasibility as well as the economical feasibility for that purpose before adopting that new process. Then what is reuse? If the material which we adopt or we are going to adopt is reusable, then it is well and good. If the material is recyclable, then it is again a good sign. And if it is recoverable, then all these three principles can be involved in a particular process and we can avoid the waste generation. If the waste is not avoidable, then we have to treat that waste. And that is why some waste treatments are also given. And if the after treatment also, if the waste is remain, and after treatment also, if that waste is not recyclable, reusable or recoverable, then we have to dispose that waste. So I have mentioned right now that if you are using the mask, then that mask is, if it is disposable, then we can't use that mask again and again. So we have to dispose of that mask with the proper guidelines that is given under the biomedical waste treatment. And like that, if the waste is of hazardous waste, if the waste is solid waste, so whatever the type or classification of that waste is, on the basis of that waste, on the classification of that waste, we have to go for the treatment as well as the disposal technique. Now this is the simple diagram which shows any type of industry, that is resources available, we are using these resources, we are doing some activity, that is nothing but the process or operations, and the output of this process or operations are nothing but the product. So input, process and output, that is the basic phenomena or the criteria in all types of industry. So here, waste consists of part of a raw material, intermediate product or finished product. So waste may be generated from the raw material utilization, or that may be from the intermediate from the processing units, or that may be as a part of a final product. No commercial value of this waste. The liquid, solids and gases form. So that liquid may be in terms of effluent, so that may be in the liquid form. If it is a burr, like metal burr or plastic burr, then it is in the form of solids. Or after combustion process, normally we found the ash, so that ash is nothing but the solid form waste. And some gases can be produced while doing some operations. So we have already mentioned that some cutters, some gas weldings, some other operations can be carried out in different types of processes and different types of industries. So there are more chances for the gases generation. So if you take the examples of foundries, steel industries, etc., then there is a chances of gases formation, because we are processing the raw material at 1000 plus temperature, and for that temperature we have to use the pyration techniques, we have to use the pure heating techniques, or in some of the industries we are going to use the boiler, we are going to use the boiler to generate the steam, and that steam can be utilized for the heating purpose. So for that purpose also, again there are chances of uh, gases generation due to the furnace and the boilers. So the waste may be in the form of liquids, that may be in the form of solids, or that may be in the form of gas. Then continued to be called as waste till alternative technology to make or convert into resources known. So unless and until we don't know what exactly the alternatives for that particular process, for that technology, then the waste generation is a continuous process in that industry. Say for example, if you take the example, um, before some days we are using coal as a fuel in the boiler, and that is the traditional method. Nowadays also we are using the coal as a fuel in the boiler, in the furnace. So after combustion of this coal, that heat is generated, and simultaneously If the incomplete combustion is there, then the carbon monoxide is generated. If the complete combustion is there, then carbon dioxide is generated. And if normally that fuel is containing the sulfur, then sulfur dioxide, sulfur trioxide, or sulfur derivatives are generated. And in the air, nitrogen is present. That is why nitrogen derivatives are also generated. So these are the different waste generation in a single process, that is in the combustion process in furnace. So when we are combusting this fuel, then the gases form generation, that is sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, nitrogen trioxide. Then solid waste, that is nothing but the ash, and in some cases moisture is also present, so liquid. So this is the example where we can study, we can replace this uh, fuel by oil or maybe with some gas. So nowadays the technological changes are there where we are using oil or a gas instead of the coal. So we can reduce the waste generation, we can reduce the quantity of waste, we can reduce the hazards present due to that waste, so that we have to study that alternative technology. Present trend supported by rules and regulation is to be bring waste into permissible limits and disposed of. So nowadays the norms are going to become stricter and stricter, and the amendments or the new rules and regulations are adopted by the industry, by the government. And that is why after 2016 especially, when we are concerning about the environment, there are lots of rules and regulation added after 2016. Some amendments are there in the 2016 itself, and after that these maximum permissible limits and dispose of techniques are having great weightage or the importance in that particular rule. Now disregard towards waste, then remember waste is a valuable product, consider it as a resource. So in some of the processes or in the industries, that waste can be used as a resource. So say for example, when we are using this combustion technique, we are using this furnace, we are generating the steam from the water with the help of this boiler operations, and the waste, one of the waste is ash. But nowadays this ash can be used as a replacement for the cement product, and with the help of some mechanical operations this ash can be converted to the material where this is can be blended with the or mixed with the cement. So this is the example of waste as a resource. Now what is waste? You know that it comes out along with finished products, activity or job. It may be in form of liquids, solids, gases. It consists of part of raw material, intermediate product or finished product. It is a product from the process which value uses is not present, you know. Though is a part of resource, it has no commercial value. General trend is to treat and dispose of as per rules and regulation, right? So we have to treat this waste as per the rules and regulation. So methods of treatment, normally it is a screening, remove medium coarse solids. So I have already discussed that this screening is again based on the size of the particles. Then flocculations. So the flock means a particle when number of particles are come together and it forms a flock, that is high density material, and it can be settled down with the help of some flocculants, that is nothing but the fine suspended solids are come together as a flock, and due to high density it can be settled down at the bottom. Then flotation, so some flotation techniques can be used to separate the free and emulsified oil. Then sedimentation technique is there. So sedimentation is a simple technique where you can give the time to that liquid to settle down. So after some time, that high density particles automatically, due to the gravity, it can be settled out, and some suspended solids are only present at the surface of that liquid. Then stripping, so removal of the volatilities or volatile inorganic carbon, etc., are nothing but the stripping. So stripping is nothing but the absorption. Then neutralization, it is a pH adjustment. So we have already discussed about this pH, that is potence of hydrogen ion concentration. So that is normally measured in terms of pH scale, that is 0 to 7 and 7 to 14. So 0 to 7 is nothing but the acidic range, and 7 to 14 is nothing but the basic range. 7 is the neutral point. So if the acidic particles are present, then we have to neutralize by the basic. If the basic particles are present, then we have to neutralize by acids. Then adsorption is a phenomena where you can remove some organic particles with the help of some measurement like COD, color or odor. So there is color or odor can be removed. Some impurities can be removed with the help of some adsorbent, and that process is called as adsorption. So these are the different treatment techniques where we can reduce the waste. Then ion exchange. So nowadays we are using this RO system, that is nothing but the reverse osmosis systems, that is simply called as desalination. So normally this RO uses for to remove the salts from the water. So salts may be that carbonates, bicarbonates, sulfates, chlorides from the sodium or calcium. So these salts can be removed with the help of this reverse osmosis, and that is why it is called as desalination, because these salts are removed. So the D stands for removal, and this salination means that salts. So salts can be removed with the help of RO systems. So nowadays we are also using this RO system in the for the potable water, also for the drinking purpose. So as per as this IS 10500, these RO systems are designed for controlling all the parameters, especially the salts. Then ultrafiltration, removal of colloids and dissolved polymers. So for removal of these colloids and dissolved polymers, ultrafiltration techniques can be utilized. Then disinfections. So normally if the chances of infections are there, then in that particular liquid or the environment we have to use the disinfectants. So normally if the example is simple chlorine as a disinfectant for the water treatment facility, and sodium hypochlorite can be a disinfectant for again water treatment facility. So that can be used in the industry, that can be used in the public places like water tanks, or even you can use in the residential tanks also. So this chlorine, then sodium hypochlorite, ozone are the disinfectants. So you can use it to distract the pathogens. Pathogens means negative bacteria which can adversely affect on our health. So there are some waste treatment identified, some pollutants have to identify, then that can be brought within the permissible limits. Pollutants are transferred from one form to another or one place to another place, settling sludge, dried sludge, and then land disposal. So this is the basic techniques what we are using in industry, in the sewage treatment plant, in the effluent treatment plant, in the common effluent treatment plant. All these techniques can be used. That is nothing but the primary filtration, then secondary, then tertiary. And after treatment this, then sludge can be separated out, and that sludge can be used to the as a fertilizer. So we have to check the maximum permissible limits and other parameters in that particular treatment. Waste treatment needs additional source of energy, chemical and manpower. Pollutants are converted to less hazardous form. For example, hexavalent chromium to trivalent chromium. So this is the simple example where electroplating, plating industries are there, where some treatments are also there. So here, when you are using this hexavalent chromium, then we have to use trivalent chromium instead of hexavalent chromium, because this hexavalent chromium is a carcinogenic substance which can cause cancer if it is available in the working environment beyond the maximum permissible limit. Then waste treatment is not considered as important as production. Treatment plant is at fag end of factory and fag end of priority, because normally each and every industry is focusing on the production, focusing on the profit, etc. But we have to focus on waste treatment also, we have to focus on waste minimization also, we have to focus on the three principles also. So this treatment plant is a dead investment, right? So identify all the streams emerging from the processes, measurement the flows and carry out the analysis, select the streams which contains less pollutants or other pollutants which are easy to remove, compare the analysis with the process water being used at various stages, select the simple or easy to operate physiochemical methods to remove the pollutants, study the adverse effects, that is negative effects of effluent reused and the process on finished product. Study the economics of reuse taking in consideration the conservation of water. Provide the system to transport the effluent to the site of reuse. So we have to reduce the conservation of water, conservation of energies, and we want to use the waste at a minimum level. So these are the financial analysis of reuse. So there may be a capital cost investment for reuse, the recurring expenditures, cost of treatment required, cost of pumping, interest and depreciations. On the basis of that, you can understand the total recurring cost. So all this cost addition, that is cost of treatment, then cost of pumping and interest and depreciation cost. That is called as total recurring cost. Then savings may be cost of fresh water, because we are reusing that water. So fresh water needed or the demand of fresh water is less. So that cost can be saved. Then cost of pollutant can be recovered. So whatever the pollutants can be reusable, recoverable or recyclable, that cost is again can be saved. Then reduction in cost of ETP. So whatever the load on that effluent treatment plant can be reduced, and if the load is reduced, obviously the operation cost is again reduced from this ETP. So these are the savings. So you can understand what exactly profit is there. So on the basis of this total recurring cost minus this total saving, so that is nothing but the net profit for the reuse. So we can compare these advantages and disadvantages of recycling and reuse. So conserve scarce resource, cost of treatment is the disadvantage. Then save energy, recoverable byproducts are some advantages. Then reduce pollution load on recycling body. Then concentration effluent is easy to handle or recover. So these are some advantages from recycling and reuse. The disadvantages are cost of treatment. So for recycling or reusing purpose, we have to do some treatment, and after that treatment only, by checking the maximum permissible limits, we can reuse or recycle that particular chemicals or that effluent. Then piping and plumbing cost is addition. So cost addition is there. Then will generate concentrated effluent on account of reduced flow rate. Cost of recyclable water is more than the fresh water. So you can check this point that recyclable water cost is more than the fresh water. May deteriorate quality of finished water. So the quality of finished water is again going to reduce, and it is not permissible for the specific processes, especially when we are dealing with the pharmaceutical industries, when we are dealing with the food industries. If net profit is positive, find out money back period and saving per annum. If net profit is negative, reuse can be justified by saving of natural resources and reduction in finite volume. So you have to justify your 3R principle use. If the net profit is there, obviously every management can give the permission for all these types of treatments and 3R principle techniques. But if it is negative, then you can justify your experiment by giving us that natural resources um, protections and reduction in the final volume. So justification when net profit is negative is saving of scarce resource, that is water, recovery of byproduct, then reduction in size of the effluent treatment plant or reduction in recurring cost of the effluent treatment plant. So these are the justification points, especially it is needed for the management. So you can understand this unit operation, identify water quality, input water quality, wastewater quality, prohibitive factors and tolerance limits. So all these are the quality checks. So there is some justification for this recycling product. Saving of scarce resource water, the recovery of various valuable byproducts, if any, the saving of raw material which may be required for the byproducts if manufactured directly, reduction in the load of population on the receiving body and thereafter, therefore improvement water quality at the downstream, reduction in the size of effluent treatment plant for the reduction in the recurring cost of the effluent treatment. So these are some of the justification point or the positive points from the recycling of the product. Then the parameters to establish these recycling systems in thermal power station, that is one of the example. So optimum number of cycles which can be tolerated by the systems, quantity of fresh makeup water to compensate the losses due to evaporation, leakages, etc. The quality and quantity of bleed water which will be regularly drained off from the desired quality of water being recycled. The treatment of bleed water to achieve the desired parameters prescribed by the prescribed pollution control board prior to the disposal of the receiving water body. So you have to check all the parameters which is given by the Maharashtra Pollution Control Board, and then only if that parameters are within the permissible limit, then and then only you can mix that water or air to that particular water body or air body. Then question asked for this 3R principle, at what cost, why, shall be done when pollution controlling authorities do not insist, is it really necessary, what will happen with existing waste treatment systems, is technology well proven, when resources are available, then what is need of recycling, what are the cost benefit against the investment. So all these are the questions before applying for this 3R principle. So the main task or the point is main cost. So as far as the management of any type of industry is concerned, they are mainly asking about the cost or the investment and the break-even point. So we have to check this cost first. Then another parameter, whether it is essential, whether it is mandatory condition by the pollution control board or other boards or the agencies, whether it is really necessary, whether the existing treatment is not suitable, whether the technology is proven or not, and when the sources are in ample amount, then why we are going to use this recycling technique for that particular process or resources. So these are the some questions. The main thing is waste is wealth. If you really utilize, if you really know the characteristics of that waste, if you really know the applications of that waste, if you really know how to convert this waste into wealth or in a valuable product, then that waste is converting into wealth. Just now, yesterday I have read one of the article where it is clearly mentioned that the two persons are collecting the waste from the corporations and they are selling that waste into a valuable product, and they are earning 2 crores per annum. So that is simple example. Now you can understand from the Bangarwala, you can understand the examples from the recyclable units for the plastic, that may be from the glass, that may be from the metals, etc. So all types of waste can be converted into wealth, provided you must have the knowledge, you must have the basic investment, you must have the proper knowledge about the legal references or the rules and regulations for that particular state, and the main agency which controls all these types of waste, and what are the applications or receivers of this type of waste. So if you know all these types of things, then you can convert this waste into wealth, so you can manage this product. Thank you.